watching Parents in Cars Getting Coffee.
I heard about sign language when I was pregnant, and I remember talking about it with my husband, and he's like, "Oh, it's just another thing to spend money on, right?" Because anything you could spend money on when I was pregnant, I did.
Yeah.
I did it. I took all the classes. I bought everything that you think you need, and I probably used 40% of it, right? And then I remember looking into sign language. I didn't really look into it much, and I thought, well, why would I teach my son sign language if he can hear?
Yeah.
Right. So then when I saw that, I thought, wow, that's amazing. So this, teaching a baby to communicate before they can talk really does work. So I started teaching my son sign language when he was about 8 months old. It started when a friend of mine came over when our kids were 7 months old, and her son was signing. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty amazing that he could sign. Actually, I think it was my husband that said you should actually open your business doing this. So I did, and it just took off. And there wasn't anybody in Langley, so that's why I thought, well, there's so many people here. I really need to have something here because I'm getting contacted all the time. Both my friends and my son.
Okay,
so
that's
there
funny.
were 3 kids in it. And I loved it, and I learned so much. And now I've been teaching almost 3 years. I can't believe it. And now I've changed it so much to have a program where I think it's really good, it's really informative, it's really fun. Yeah. And that's the main thing, is having a fun thing to do with your child. Right. Because we can all learn and teach, but it's having fun. So that's why I always say, I want my parents to have fun, I want the babies to have fun, otherwise nothing's going to stick. Right, yeah. They comprehend so much earlier than producing their first sign. Right, yeah. So I have some in my class that are 3 and 4 months old, and the parents say, they're not signing back, should I even bother? And I say, well, you have to start early so that they can comprehend it. Because if you wait until later, then all of those months they could have been absorbing it and they just weren't producing. Right. So it's always good to start like you did, where you're getting it into him. So then when it's time for him to look at the light and sign it, he's already heard it 100 times, 200 times, and then for him to just follow up with his hand, it's different.
Watch your son or your daughter or whatever, like start learning these things and figuring things out. It's like, wow, like you're becoming like a human being. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're not just a baby.
That's what I always
anymore,
said.
right?
I'm like, babies, they don't do anything. They just sit around. You feed them and that's it. But when I taught my son sign language, I was amazed at how smart he was. Yeah. He knew so many things. He had so much to say. Right. And I just can't sell. I have to believe. Right. Yeah. And for me, believing in sign language and having proof where my son is signing, it has been the best thing ever, and I think that comes through with parents because they see my passion and they see how when I explain things, they actually go, oh yeah, you're right. I see that with my child, and to me, that's the best payoff. Yeah. And just bringing awareness to baby sign language is so rewarding. And it's funny when you said Nate, you and Nate probably were more skeptical in the beginning. Totally. My husband was even more skeptical than me because when I told him, oh, my friend was over with her son and they were signing. And he's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then when I did it, and it wasn't until my son did his first sign, and then he went, oh, he did it. Look, he signed up. Did you see that? And he was over the moon. Right. And then he started telling everybody about it, and he was like my biggest advocate. He was at work all the time, so he felt like, wow, I'm not really part of this at all. Right. Yeah. So then when my son started signing, he was like, this is our time. Right. We're bonding. He can totally speak so well, and I do owe a lot of that to sign language because we taught him so much. We explain so much, and just using your brain to communicate opens up a whole new world. It's one thing to play and to learn to stack and to do all that. All that is just so important developmentally, but communication is just so amazing. So for them, even though they're not speaking, they're still communicating, and they're telling stories and they're understanding the feelings. And for me, that's what I saw the most come out of my son. Was to understand that communication process, and now he can speak like one of the adults, carry on a conversation. You should see my workshops. Sometimes I do workshops with like 20, 30 people, and you go in and you can barely speak because it's loud, and the babies are squawking and crying and everything. And then I do like a super quick introduction, and I put on the music right away, and it's like, And they all just stop. And everyone is amazed. They're just looking at all the babies like, there's like 25 babies here. And they're all just stop watching you and Bebo sign and listen to the music. And they're watching my hands, they're watching my lips. And I said, that's what we want. Is for that. That's why I wear the yellow gloves, so that they can see your hands. So it's so important, right? And to watch your lips. And it's amazing. And I love doing workshops. And that's why I do them so often. And I do them for free so that people can see. Because I feel like what I do, you kind of need to see it. That's something that I think is underrated, maybe like play dates, how important social development is. Social and emotional development. We spend so much time worrying about all these other things. Can they cut their hands? Can they stack blocks? Do they know their colors? These are all things I was worried about. ABCs. Oh yeah, he was on it. I made sure he knew all those things. But the social and emotion development, we're lacking, I think, as a society. We're not really thinking of ways to increase that, enhance that. And so for me, all the things that I do with Kaylin now are very much into the emotional development of social. It's really rewarding. And I think that's why when I first started, I wasn't sure. I'm like, well, is it going to be a good thing? Are people going to be interested? I knew it was going to be a good thing, but it's what it came down to was it was so rewarding. I'm not making a ton of money on it, but I love it. I love to do it, and the reward that I get, and it's let me be home with my son so that I can spend time with him instead of going back to work. I don't do this for money. I do it because I love it. Because it's passionate. When my son goes to school, I'm gonna have to do something else. But I still hope to have my business, right? Like it's what I want to do. Changed so much after having Kaylin. Like unbelievably in so many ways. Things that were important to me before now aren't. Vice versa. Certain things weren't and now they're very important to me. And I've changed for the better. So much. It's funny, when I met my husband, I felt like I changed for the better. So I think that things that are really important in your life that you really love change you for the better. Nobody can ever make you change. But when I met my husband, I realized, wow, this is what a real relationship could be like. I thought I was in love before. When I met my husband, this is true love. I never knew that this is how love should be. But Matthew brings the best out of me. For sure. Right? And we help each other so much, and that's what a true partner is. Right? A true husband, a true father. Great achievement involves great risk. That's true. You'll never achieve if you're too afraid to try. With anything. With riding a bike, with skydiving, if you want to go that crazy, with a new business or a relationship, right? I mean, how would I have ever known if I was too afraid to get involved with Matthew to take it to the next level? And having a kid, oh my God, like scared the bejesus out of me. But I knew I was ready for that challenge. Right? So
it's crazy, and I feel like we almost get like pushed into like as parents or maybe as mothers, like things that I didn't think I could ever have handled, and it's like you just find the strength and the determination to do it. Like it's so crazy, like when you think about it. Because like if you had asked me like 10 years ago, oh, do I think I could have like done all these things, or like even the things that like doing a lot of the things that I do with Lyndon, it's like I would have never guessed in a million years that that's the way that I would have been. Like even when I was pregnant, I was like, I'm not breastfeeding. That's really weird. Like I don't have this thing like sign on my tip. Like, that's really weird, right? If you had shown me a video a year ago of what I am today with Lyndon, I would have been like, no way. No,
that's not me. But I did really enjoy being a parent. And it's the most rewarding thing I've ever done. It's the most difficult thing. It really is. And every stage you think, oh, okay, I got it down pat, and then something changes. So for me, I found that was the toughest thing. It always kept me on my toes. But it always made me keep learning. Right? So I'm always learning new things, trying to keep up with him, trying to be the best. And so it's the most difficult and the most rewarding thing all in one. And I've never changed it for the world. And I think that's why I really love sign language, because I was always learning. Not just learning about the actual science, but learning about the benefits of it and how it can change people's lives. And I still get emails every day. hearing new things about how their lives have changed. Like, oh, I never thought about this, or thought of that, and you know, so amazing. So I think that changing, having life-changing experiences like that is what makes you grow.
Yeah.
Right?
That's so true. Yeah. When you think that's deep.
Oh God, that's really deep. We should be writing cards.
We should like make a quote book.